What's up, everybody? How's it going? I hope you guys had a good Sunday like we did. We were wrong about one game in
Minus this game.
particular. Yeah. We had two, but we
What?
weren't really like all the way on the
Yeah, we
Bills.
weren't.
We just said
Yeah.
we were leaning that way. Washington screwed us up, but other than that, man, we had a pretty hot weekend. So
hmm
we hope you guys did too if you were listening. And we're here to talk about the Monday night game to finish off the week strong. Hopefully, we got the Cowboys at the Giants. We'll be back in 15 seconds with that.
Yes,
All right.
indeed. Let's go.
So I'm just going to go ahead and say it right now. This is an ugly, ugly, ugly Monday night matchup here. We got two backup quarterbacks with star running backs, not a lot of weapons other than that to throw to. And yes, I called Daniel Jones a backup quarterback.
I was about to say, I was like,
Chad,
man, you're going hard on Daniel Jones.
Chad, you're taking the Giants here, correct?
Yes, I am.
All right, let's get into it.
Yeah, so I got to look at a couple other things real quick, but my this is basically just taking my same strategy, and we're going to actually do an episode. I was talking to AG about it this morning. I want to do an episode where we kind of go through some of the different parameters that we look at, like basically our reasoning behind some of these picks. It's not all just, it's not all about football necessarily every time. And it's also not all about some of our little conspiracy angles or anything like that. Like
Mm-hmm.
a lot of this is sometimes, for instance, the Cleveland game last Thursday, I made that call purely on football. I just
Right.
looked at it and I said, all right, Mitch Trubisky at quarterback. They're going to run the ball a lot with Nick Chubb. They're going to throw the ball a little bit, and Brissett doesn't do too poorly, and he's got a pretty strong arm. So if the wind is a factor, I think he actually might be able to fare well. That's why I like Amari Cooper for 60 plus a touch. There's some obvious things football wise that made sense in that game. Myles Garrett and that pass rush, being able to get after Mitch Trubisky, it just made sense. So
Right.
sometimes it's just about football. But sometimes, like in this game, I look at it and I want to emphasize to people, because we've done a lot of these where we've identified some of these traps. A big one yesterday. Let's toot our own horn. We don't always get everything right, but when we do, by golly, we're going to toot our own horn. They're showing it right now on First Take. Matt Ryan and the Colts took down the Chiefs at home, just like we told you. We told you to stay away from Kansas City, stay away from that 6.5 or 5.5 or whatever it was. Whenever
They got
you
down to
look,
4.5 right before the game started
see,
too.
there you go. So
And
they it started trending that way because people were too heavy on KC. They were too heavy on KC, and I think when you can identify those things, you have to also be able to step back, because I saw something in that Cincinnati game going into Dallas last week. A lot of people were real
right.
high on Cincinnati bouncing back from that ugly loss. They turned the ball over a lot. They had some missed kicks. They should have won that game against Pittsburgh. They're going into Dallas. Dallas loses Dak Prescott. You've got Cooper Rush at quarterback.
Yep.
Everybody's hating on Dallas. I said, not so fast. You better be careful.
Mm-hmm.
Cincinnati's going in there, and I think there's a lot of people putting too much faith in them, going on the road after being in the Super Bowl last year. And I don't know that they're equipped, especially with the struggles that they have against elite pass rushers and the way that Dallas gets after the passer. Sure enough, Dallas killed Burrow in that game, and
Yep.
Dallas ends up winning the game. I flipped that around this week, and I look very similar to what, like with the Seattle, back-to-back weeks, beating Denver at home and then turning around and struggling on the road against San Francisco the following week. I look at this one and I say, you're in Dallas, at MetLife. I mean, no, you're not in Dallas. You're in New York at MetLife in
Yep.
front of all those
Jersey.
crazy fans.
In Jersey. Get it right.
Okay. Oh, it's in Jersey. All right. Yeah. I forget that y'all play
The
on the
Jersey
other side.
Giants.
Y'all play on the other side. Yeah. Jersey Giants and Jets. Yeah. I don't know how they screwed Jersey out of that, but anyway, I digress. So you're playing in front of all those crazy fans though on a Monday night in a division game with a backup quarterback playing on the road. And we talked about this with that Denver-Seattle game week 1. The ability to, when Daniel Jones is under center, to have the snap count be audible versus when Cooper Rush is under center or when he's in the shotgun and everybody's looking in to see when the ball moves and those pass rushers are pinning their ears back and they're on the same timing as you are. Mm-hmm. Your tackles don't get that extra beat of they hear it and they know what the count is, so they're already getting back into their pass rush, into their pass blocking. It's a whole different ball game. I could see the Giants getting some pressure, maybe even a couple of turnovers in this game, and I really like Saquon Barkley to do well. I don't know that Daniel Jones is going to go off or anything like that. I even looked. I think his props are like 200 yards, and I don't even feel comfortable with that.
Yeah, it's 208 last I looked.
Yeah, he could be at like 185, and they could still win this game. 13-7 or something like that. So I like this game to be pretty low scoring, and because I think both of these teams do well at stopping. Putting teams in unfavorable third down situations. So
yes, it sounds like you like the under here also.
I like the under, and I like the Giants.
The unders on prime time have been on fire so far this year,
and I like
that too.
So have the home teams.
That's true as well. Yes. Yep. Yeah, we were talking about that. I think they're 7 in a row after dropping the first two. The home teams on prime time. But I'm gonna go with the Cowboys here. I just think that they match up a little bit better. I think they just have a little more talent on the field there. But it's pick at this point. Like, I'm not saying that I'm taking the Cowboys as a pick or as my lock. I'm probably going to stay away from picking a side on this game. But if I had to choose, if I had to lean a certain way, I would go Cowboys. Now, if I'm going to take that to the window, which I might do, I might just put a little pizza line on, or a little pizza money on the Cowboys to cover 3 points as a favorite. Like, I'll do an alternate spread and have them to cover a -2.5. I just feel like I'll get some more bang for my buck, more value. And I do think it's going to come down to like a field goal type of game, especially if it stays close and low scoring, like everybody's pretty much expecting at this point. I do like I like both teams to kind of run the ball. So I like the Daniel Jones underplay there, or him to not really go off at all. I like that because I think both teams will run the ball. What I really like is if you can find on any books that you use field goal props, I think we're going to see a lot of kicking action today. A lot of field goals. I
was going to say, if you can find a third down conversion percentage prop, I think you could probably get pretty good money on under 25% combined for these two teams. They are averaging. So the Giants are at 28.6% on third downs so far this year, and Dallas is at 24%. And both of those teams have really done a good job of stopping their opponents on third down as well. So I think it's funny. Like, this could be one of those games where, like, if there's a punt prop, I don't mind that one either.
Well, we saw last night's primetime game came down to the punters. Last night's game literally came down to the punters. They put a graphic up with both of their stats, and like the winning team had like 3 more punts inside the 20. It was like, that was a punter game right there. It was Russell Wilson versus Jimmy G, but it was really punter versus punter. But I mean, I really like those field goal props. There's a prop on FanDuel for plus 470 for there to be a field goal in each quarter. Now at plus 470, I like that as a low risk, high reward type of play where you can put $5 on it and make a nice little, because that's the thing with this game. This game is so ugly. There's not going to be a ton of offense unless it's unexpected offense. Now, if you want to go for it all and go for the home runs and make a huge same game parlay with a bunch of offensive overs, go for it. I mean, it might hit, but it's going to surprise all of us if that happens.
If offense happens in this game, it's going to be broken plays.
Exactly.
It's going to be busted coverages or something like that.
Or it's going to be defense and special teams scoring points.
That too. Yep.
But because of that, I don't want to just come up here and say, let's think about, are we going to take Saquon over or under on his rushing yards? Like, no, anybody is going to have their own opinion on a side of that over under. Same with Daniel Jones even. Some people will say, no, he'll go over 208. It's a low number. I mean, we can do that all day long if we want to, but I'm trying to identify like the little key value
The
spots that we could
opportunities.
get in an
Yeah.
offensive game where it's not, or in a defensive game where it's going to be expected to be pretty ugly offensively. Like I said, two backup quarterbacks with not a lot of weapons. And, I can't see Daniel Jones leading his team to 3-0 start. So I'm kind of leaning Cowboys for that reason. But
let me ask you
one prop
this.
I
Could
do
you
like,
see Tua Tagovailoa leading his team to a 3-0 start?
Yeah, him and Jalen Hurts. Well, that's what I don't.
Because
it's going to be the two Bama quarterbacks at the top of the league after week 3.
Yeah, right.
That's insane. I mean, unless Daniel Jones wins, then he'll be in that combo too.
That's what I'm saying. I don't hate that. I don't hate the Giants in this game. I actually like it, and the line is low enough that I think it's built to entice people to bet on the Cowboys.
Yeah.
Because
I could agree.
The Cowboys probably would be favored if things had gone. If Dak Prescott was still playing, the Cowboys are favored going into this game.
100%. But that's the thing. Like you can't. I can't really. I was talking about this at my bar that I work at with a bunch of the regulars. A couple of them are Giants and Cowboys fans, and they were discussing. They asked my opinion. I said, it's kind of pick. I don't know, but that's the thing. I'm sorry, Chad. I just lost my train of thought. What did you just say?
Oh, I was just saying that I don't hate this one because I think they're trying to entice people to bet on the Cowboys for this because the Cowboys probably should be favored.
Oh yes,
in this game.
The Dak Prescott thing. So what I told him, I was like, well, you can't really factor Dak Prescott in or out of this game because Cooper Rush is just as good as Daniel Jones from what we've seen so far. He's not significantly worse. There's no drop off there. So you can't really, there's no like, oh, Dak's out. So it's the backup quarterback versus the starter. And that's why I started the show by saying with two backup quarterbacks, obviously I was joking, but I mean, they're almost at the same level, if not the same level. So you can't even factor that in. But because of that, one thing I do like is in the games like this where it's ugly, I like the running back props of rushing attempts and even Tony Pollard as the backup because the Giants allow a lot of yards per rush. The numbers of total yards that they've allowed doesn't look too bad, but it's a lot of yards per rush that they've been allowing so far this season. And when you're looking at the backup running back and his line is set at 37.5 and he hits that with 5, 6, 7 carries usually for Tony Pollard because he any day, any given Sunday or Monday,
he can break off a 20-yarder. Yeah.
And they have him set at 37.5. All he needs is like 6, 7, 8 carries to get that. And you got to think that both teams are going to come in with that strategy of run game. And so I think that's a good play to take. And then Ezekiel Elliott, 14.5 rushing attempts. Iffy, but I feel like both teams, they want to control this game. They're going to have to hit the run game. Saquon's is set at 19.5. It seems a little high to me. So I'm not sure. Not sure how I feel about that. You got any other player prop thoughts that you were thinking of?
No, I mean, I really, so I was looking at Saquon too. And I know that you showed that stat that, what is it? 96% over the receiving yards total for Saquon Barkley of 22.5 or something
on
like that.
On BetMGM, yeah. On BetMGM, 96% of bets are taken over, and it's the most bet prop of the game on MGM.
Right. So I don't know. I don't. It doesn't always mean that it's wrong.
No, not at all.
What I mean, you know what I'm saying?
Definitely not. I'm definitely not going to fade it and take an under.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I'm not.
But it just kind of makes me think, damn, there's a lot of money all on that. We're not all always right. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
there was a lot of money coming in on the Chiefs yesterday, and that was one thing that showed us like, well, we can't all always be right. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I don't know. I'm not gonna fade it and take an under because all it takes is him to break one screen pass, which can happen in the first play of the game. You know, we've seen it before from Saquon. So it's not like I'm gonna fade it, but it just made me. I coming into the game, I thought, oh, I'm gonna look at Saquon's receptions and yards, and then I saw that and I was like,
all right. So here's
why is everyone on this?
Right. So here's where I'll push back on that because I think the reason that everybody's on that and why they might still be right is because if I'm going up against this Dallas pass rush and I'm trying to get, Micah Parsons is going to have his hair on fire coming, you know what I mean? Like I'm looking for some dump offs. If I'm the Giants, I'm looking for use their pursuit against them and find ways to get Saquon Barkley in space behind them with linemen out blocking in front of him, taking on corners and safeties. Yeah, come after Daniel Jones. That's fine. And then we'll dump it off, and Saquon's going to be set up for a 65-yard screen or something like that. So he could hit that. He could hit that in one play, 22.5 yards. So
right. No, 100%, 100%.
and
That's why
I
there's
think
definitely no way that we're going to fade it. So when it is the most
yeah,
bet, nobody's taking the under. So it makes sense that 96% of them are the over. You know what I mean? That makes sense. It's solid.
Yeah, let
I
me
like
look
that take, Chad.
because I think what I would probably do is I would probably throw down a little bit on that, like a $10, $20 bet or something like that on that, and then the next thing I would be looking for is okay, what alternates do I get? Can I get Saquon 60 plus receiving yards, and is it can I find that first of all, and then if I find it, can I get good money on it?
Yeah, you just want to go
longest
for
reception
it with the
Saquon
riskier
Barkley. That's what his.
Well, what I will
his
say is
longest reception would be.
I like the over 3.5 catches for Saquon more than I
Mhm.
like the yards.
Yeah.
Because of what you said. So what you're basically getting at with your strategy and looking at this with Micah Parsons and stopping that pass rush is that
Mhm.
you like them to dump it off to Saquon quite a few times, right? So why risk taking him not getting the
Yeah.
yards when you're getting a better number on the catches? He could get
Yeah.
5-6 catches and only get 17 yards. It's possible if they're not targeting him on like screens and stuff, and even the screens might get blown up, but
Mhm.
he might be getting dump offs where he's getting 2, 3, 4 yards because there's a linebacker there waiting for him anyway.
Mhm.
Where and you're getting the yards, and I'm looking at FanDuel's odds right now. So if you shop
Yeah.
around, it might be a little different. But on FanDuel, you're getting the yards at 23.5 for -122, but you're getting 3.5 catches for -113. So in
Mhm.
my opinion, I'm going to stay away from the yards and I'm going to take the catches because I do like
Or
what you're saying. That game script makes sense, but him getting
Mhm.
the catches, he might get 6 catches, 19 yards, 20. You don't want to get shot in the
Right.
foot by that. You know what I mean?
So look at on BetMGM. I'm looking right now at Saquon Barkley 5+ receptions. So that's basically over 4.5. All right.
Mm-hmm.
5+ receptions plus 200. All right. So you're getting
See, that's
solid money
solid.
there. And then 50+ receiving yards plus 400. Like I actually
It's
like
possible.
that better. I like that better than because then you can minimize, you can lower if let's say you're trying to like, all right, let me see if I can throw a little bit just to make this fun, make it interesting. Instead of going after that higher that lower total that's higher probability, higher success rate, and risking missing out on it. Because the way I look at it, I think if he gets 20 yards receiving, he's getting 30.
Right.
And so
I could see,
I'm looking
yeah.
at it. I see the 50 receiving yards at plus 400, and I like that. And then the I think if he's getting 3.5, what's another one reception? So you need 4 to get that one. And what did you say that
No,
was
I
at
do.
113? That's at minus
This one's
113.
at -113.
So
Yeah.
I can
So
get
you're getting
plus
plus
200
200 for
for
only
one
one
more
more
catch.
catch. Exactly.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, no, so but
I'm banging that one.
that's why I always say you got to shop around a little bit and
Mhm,
try to find
mhm.
some good picks because that's a fact. Look at that right there live. We just figured that out. So if
Yeah.
I was planning on taking his catches to the window. I'm gonna go right on my BetMGM account now instead of
Right.
I have FanDuel right here on my phone. The rest of them I do on my laptop.
Mhm.
So I resort to FanDuel because it's the
Yeah, well,
quickest and easiest.
you might be able to
But
find that
no,
on
they don't have
FanDuel
his
though.
alts. They don't have
Oh,
his
they don't
alts
have
on here.
alts. Oh, okay.
No, not for him. Not for him for receiving yards either. But yeah, so now I'm gonna go log into BetMGM because Chad just gave me that gem.
Yeah, so
And
this
yeah,
one
I'm
you
gonna
got to
take the
go
better value.
to you scroll down, like you get in the game and then you scroll down and it's got star player props.
Yep.
So it's not in the Saquon Barkley alternate. It's in like a special thing where it's like it'll have like
Okay.
star player props and then like it's like a specific here's Saquon Barkley stuff. Do you think and then one of them is like, do you expect him to get a 30+ yard reception? And that one's actually pretty solid too. Him to get a 30+ yard reception is where is it? Is
That's
plus
tough though.
550.
He's got to break
Oh
one.
no, he's got to break one.
He
I
can
know, but I'm
break
just
one
saying
for
it's plus
sure.
550.
He can
plus
for sure,
550.
but plus 550,
Yeah.
yeah, you're getting good value.
Yeah.
Yep.
Now 10+
like,
receptions is plus 1,200. So if you think it's really going to be crazy, and you want to
Yeah,
just sprinkle a
that's
little
high
bit
though.
on that. That's really
That's
high
really
though.
high.
That's
That's really
asking him
high.
to be the leading receiver in the game, pretty much.
Yeah, but like we said from the jump, man, we don't expect this to be like a crazy exciting game. So the player props, like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't even want to take a look at receivers. You know what I mean? I mean, maybe Michael
Right.
Gallup, I'm pretty sure was ruled out. So if that's the case, you might want to look at Noah Brown
Mm-hmm.
catches though, not yards, because we don't know how many yards
Right.
he's going to end up getting. We don't know how many yards either of these teams are going to end up getting in this ugly game. But he'll probably end up getting 4 catches though. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? So, and that's what they have him set at right now on the FanDuel lines. But one other thing I think that I'm going to take to the window, it's minus 170. So it's a very, very low value bet, but
Mm-hmm.
it's each team to score 1 touchdown and 1 field goal on FanDuel. It's one of those game specials they give.
I don't like it.
Really? Why not?
I think the likelihood is higher that neither team they don't both score a touchdown.
Really?
I will remind you that now, granted, I know this isn't Tampa Bay's defense that they're going up against, but they are playing on the road. It is a primetime game on the road, so you've got the crowd noise factor and all that stuff. I don't know. Dallas scored 3 points against Tampa Bay week 1.
This is true.
They scored 20 at home against Cincinnati, and they got a little bit of help too. And they got tons of sacks that set them up with real good field position because Cincinnati kept giving them the ball in favorable situations. So I don't know. I think this could look a lot like last night's game. And
yeah, all right. Well,
if you look at last night's game, yeah, I guess both teams did score a touchdown.
Both teams did it. That's all I'm saying.
They both scored a touchdown and a field goal. But it was ugly, and you were gritting your teeth to the bitter end.
Ugly as all right, but think about it that way, right? As ugly as that game was last night, this bet would have hit in that game. Yeah. I don't think this game is uglier than that.
Right. I'm just saying, like at minus 170, I think it's
there's no value. I admitted that from the start. There's no value there. But like, in a game where I'm scared to take any receivers or quarterback stuff because I'm just like that could just blow up in your face by the second quarter. It's not going to hit.
I'll say this much: I'm staying away from all the anytime touchdown score things because I'm like, I don't the one touchdown that each team scores. I don't know who the hell's doing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
A game.
Well, you got to lean.
Buffalo's playing I'll throw down a Zach Moss anytime touchdown because
they might. The touchdowns are going to be flowing. Yeah,
yeah, exactly.
Well, I think if you're gonna play an anytime touchdown today, you got to play. You got to play the running back Zeke, Saquon,
Zeke and Saquon,
or Tony Pollard even.
Yeah, maybe
Pollard's the one with some value there. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. You could get a good number probably for
if you want to do let's look at that one because that's an interesting one because I think if I'm gonna play one, it's gonna be I'm looking at like Pollard or CD Lamb. I'm staying away from the other two because Pollard and CD Lamb is anytime touchdown plus 145 plus 240. And I would even say,
on FanDuel you're getting even better numbers than that. CD plus 165, Tony Pollard plus 250.
Good. Okay, yeah, that's good. So the other thing I would look at is because we expect it to be now we could be dead wrong. Like I'm wearing this Dolphins.
I know it's going to be a 20. It's going to be
just to troll myself because I really thought that I thought Buffalo was gonna boat race them yesterday, and we were talking. I was even going ham on like. No, like you don't, you this is one of those things where you don't bet against the Bills until you have reason to bet against the Bills. I still stand by that because I would not have bet into the teeth of that. We felt better about that Kansas City setup than we did about this Bills Miami one. And maybe somebody 100%. Else saw it coming. I didn't see it coming. But what I'll say is, as much as we expect this game to be low scoring and ugly, I think you could, if you're going to take an anytime touchdown, this is just something I'm throwing out there as something to think about. You might be better off just going with the first touchdown for that same player because it might be the only touchdown.
True. And you'll get better odds.
You get way better odds.
That's a good point.
Imagine if you had your boy from last night in the San Francisco Denver game that you got the first touchdown. It almost was the only touchdown. So whether you picked anytime touchdown, whether you picked anytime touchdown or first touchdown, you would have won.
Yep.
So
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
You'd have gotten
It
much
was
better
the
money
same.
for first.
It was almost the same as an anytime touchdown, but for way better value at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was Ant though. Ant hit that bet.
That
Brandon
was Ant.
Ayuk
That's
first
right.
touchdown.
Brandon Ayuk. Yeah,
It was Ant.
that was Ant.
I had
That was
Jeffrey.
Ant.
I had Jeffrey. I had Jeffrey Wilson. I was close.
Right,
If they didn't score on that play, they might have gave it to him the next one.
Yeah,
but
right.
But yeah, but one other thing to think about when we're talking about anytime touchdowns is the defense and special teams. Because of what we mentioned earlier, like we started off the show by saying some of that offense might come from the defense. So, I mean, that's something to look at. What I really, really do like is the field goals, though. That's what that's the only thing I'm really sold on. That and Saquon getting the touches, the receptions, because that's there's no way the Giants win if they're dropping back Daniel Jones under that pressure from Michael Parsons and the Cowboys pass rush. He's going to be dumping it off. So I really like him to get those catches. Like Chad said, go to BetMGM and get that 5 catches for, what was it, plus something? It was plus money, right?
5 catches. Yeah, 5 catches was plus 400. No, 5 catches was plus 200. 5 catches was
plus 200. Yep.
The 75 receiving yards was plus 400.
Yeah, I'm going to stay away from that many receiving yards. But
yeah, it's a lot. It's asking.
Because like I said, I mean, it's going to be dump off plays. They're going to run some screens for him, obviously, but it's going to be dump off plays a lot if they're dropping back, especially if they go down. Then you really have to do that. But I don't see any team going down big or anything because I think it's going to stay close and not too much scoring anyway. But
so just to make sure. So 5+ receptions on BetMGM is, and this is in the Saquon Barkley running back star player props inside the player props section. 5+ receptions is plus 200. 50+ receiving yards is plus 400.
Yeah.
So
that's still high.
75 is plus 850. I'm not taking Cowboys with the points. I'm taking Giants minus the point and a half. I think I got it at -1. Saul, but I mean it's the same thing.
Shout out to Soul G in the chat.
Yeah, what's up, Saul? But yeah, I'm taking the Giants in this game tonight. But yeah, so I wanted to go back to
Cowboys. I'm on the Cowboys.
You had the TDs thing, so it's got Dallas defense special teams plus 1,200. No Dallas touchdown is plus 900. Let's see, Giants. What is that? That's first touchdown. First touchdown, and again, like we talked about, if this ends up being a low scoring game that's really ugly like last night's game, you might as well just go ahead and take first touchdown instead of anytime touchdown because it may be the only one. And if you're picking for
both.
a team,
take 75% of your money on the anytime and 25% on the first.
And it's 25% on the first. That way you bang. You get a little bit more.
You might bang out both for your buck. Yep.
So Giants special teams, defense or special teams is plus 1,200 to score the first touchdown, and no Giants touchdown is plus 1,100. So
I think if it's going to be a defensive one, it's going to be the Cowboys. I don't think it's going to be the Giants.
I think so too.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's kind of my take on it. Like I said, we could be dead wrong about this, but I feel like Cooper Rush with that noise and then Daniel Jones with that Dallas defense, it sets up to be something very ugly, or like we talked about, it's going to be some defensive scores, special team scores, something like that, or you're going to get a couple of busted plays where somebody brings a blitz and they get behind it with a screen, or they hit somebody one-on-one on the outside and they mess up a zone man coverage scheme or something like that, where they miss the handoff, like the guy, the safety comes up and the corner's handed him off right as the safety's coming up, and he just, somebody just CeeDee Lamb just goes deep. Something like that.
The thing is,
not going to be cool with methodical.
Yeah, I'm cool with being dead wrong about this game, though, because I'd rather come up here and say, hey, stay away from most of these props because this game looks like a shitty offensive game on paper, and everybody agrees. You know what I mean? You're not going to turn on ESPN and hear that, oh, no, they're going to smash the over for 60 points today. Everybody's saying that. You know what I mean? But I'd rather come up here and say, hey, stay away from most of these props because you're not going to get any value, and most of them probably aren't going to hit unless you're taking unders. You want to go look at unders? That's fine. I tend to stay away from unders. I'll take them here and there, but I'd rather do that and be dead wrong than, what we're doing is basically saying, hey, look for some value here. Don't just go throwing your money at random stuff because that game isn't going to turn out the way that, a same game parlay favors an offensive matchup.
Right.
Don't go. There's only one game tonight. I know you're going to play some same game parlays. I'm going to do it too, but find some low numbers and some good value for those.
Find some good value.
It's just the better way to do it.
And the other thing too, employ some of that John Ryan strategy.
Yep.
If you don't like it, either throw a small little piece at the under, and then wait and see. And if you get an early score, then you double down. But don't wait until the third, fourth quarter and it's 17-13, and now you're like, oh shit, man, let me double down on my under while it's while it looks like it's getting cheaper. Maybe they'll actually hit the under. No, like if it's 10-3 at the end of one quarter, you might get a 45 or so under. Or you might get real good money on the under the 39. What is it? 39 and a half right now.
Yeah, it's 39 and a half right now.
Yeah,
I was going to say that too.
Plus money on that.
Yeah, I was going to say like we're both probably leaning the under here, but I mean, I would maybe even go up a little bit on an alternate total, go up to 42 and a half if you're playing it pregame. But Chad's strategy or John's strategy that Chad just mentioned definitely works well also. Shout out to Jimmy Das Hotep also in the chat. He said, let's go. I got to watch these men of order picks and bets. My emotions and HJ got the best of me yesterday. Yep. That's why I was like, hey, a lot of those games seemed like a no-brainer yesterday, but that's why we don't bet without our brain. That's why we take some time to think about these.
Try to tell you all the Rams were going to beat the Cardinals.
100%. Yeah. We did. We tried. No, but I mean, overall, we had a really good weekend, man. It was solid, especially in your show with John Ryan on Saturday morning, also with the college picks and stuff. I mean, we were on the money, so hopefully.
Yeah, shout out to Jesse, his SEC Game of the Year. He was an upright away from being right, but it ain't horseshoes. That shit don't count.
Yep. But
and now Arkansas is going to go get wasted by Alabama this week too. It's going to set up an interesting one in a couple of weeks with A&M and Alabama, because it's funny. Alabama
me and Chad
choked that one away, but they but Texas A&M lost to Appalachian State.
Yeah,
crazy.
But so me and Chad are fading each other on this one. Chad's going with the Giants to win it money line outright, right? Or are you taking the points? You taking the points, or are you taking the money line outright?
I did a little bit of both. I took no, actually I didn't. I thought about doing both, but no. So like when it's this close, -1, I'm taking the money line. I mean, I'm taking the -1 because I think it's going to be one of those field goal things or whatever. And if they win by 1 and I push, so be it. If I take the money line and it's worse money, to me it just seems kind of stupid.
Yeah.
So
that's almost the same reason. So I'm taking the Cowboys. I think the Cowboys win tonight, but instead of just taking the money line, I'm gonna flip the spread and take them at -2.5 or maybe -1.5. Just
tease
to
it the other way.
Yeah, just to get some value out of the Cowboys pick, a little more value at least. And then like the player props we liked were Tony Pollard, rushing yards. You might want to look at rushing attempts for any of the running backs, but I'm staying away personally. Saquon Barkley catches. I think there's going to be a lot of dump offs. Micah Parsons for a sack is one we didn't mention.
Yeah,
why not? True. Might as well throw some money on that. It's been working so far. And then you got the kickers, field goal game here. There's a couple of specials on FanDuel that give you field goal specials. So take a look at those, see which one you like the best. Graham Gano, I think, is set at 6.5 points as a kicker. So that's 2 field goals and an extra point. That could very well hit. If you can find a book that gives you like an over under 3.5 total field goals from both teams, I would take that. I think there'd definitely be a lot of field goals here. Not a lot of high scoring offense. So we're both leaning the under, but you might want to wait a little bit, see if there's a quick score. If there's a quick 7-0 score in the first quarter, you might get that over under at around 45.5, and then you can take the under there if that's what you're feeling. If you're feeling the over, obviously, then the opposite. You would hope that there's zeros across the board after the first quarter. Then you can take maybe an over 35.5, over 34.5 if you think they're going to start turning up. So that's pretty much what we got today. Very ugly matchup, so we didn't get too deep into player props and stuff like that. Just because it could go either way, but we're leaning towards a a running game that doesn't add up to a lot of points. So that's what we've got. We'll be back the rest of the week for the week 4 slate, though.
Yeah, real quick. So, as a little preview for what's coming up for week 4, this is about to turn into a Bengals shirt. Just give you a little foreshadowing there. So, be ready for that.
I guess that tells you what Chad's thinking about that Thursday night matchup. But to find out more, you better go subscribe, like this,
That's right.
and share it with some friends. And we'll be back throughout the week. Peace.
Peace.